What's going on, everybody? Jason back in the basement. Almost tired of saying that. Maybe I should do something else. What's up, everybody? This is Jason. Welcome back. So, today I want to just kind of go over my Micro Four Thirds experience so far. Very short. Haven't been in it for that long. And all of the lenses that I acquired for the system. So, some of you might know I started out with the Panasonic GX1 and then I got the viewfinder option. Went on vacation. Ultimately, I liked it. I liked the Micro Four Thirds. I liked the idea of it, but that camera didn't really, hold up and didn't feel like that was going to last long term with that viewfinder thing. So I eventually got the Panasonic GX85. So this is now my Micro Four Thirds camera of choice. Rangefinder, 16 megapixels, built-in IBIS, has a tilty screen, so that's cool. So it gives me those angles that I'm used to with the XT2. Has the built-in viewfinder, all right, so I ain't got to worry about that, added option, things like that. And I also bought this aftermarket grip to give me a little bit extra purchase. I think it's great. I think this is going to last a long haul, just like my Fuji cameras. And I'm happy with that. So to give you a little history, the reason why I end up getting into Micro Four Thirds is because I was considering telephoto as something I was missing in my photography. I'd never done a lot of telephoto work on travel vacation stuff. So I'll always shoot, kind of like that 24 through 50 range. And I'm generally happy with that. 90% of the time, I'm sticking there. I don't need nothing else. But I felt like I could get a telephoto, some shots I feel like I could have gotten just a sprinkle in that little bit of difference here and there. And so I had considered going back to the Pentax Q. I used to have the Pentax Q, and I had the 01 prime lens, which is the 40 millimeter equivalent, depending on which Q you got. I had the Q7, so that made it a 40 millimeter, I believe. And I had the 70 to 200 lens, which was the 06 lens. Very compact, and I took some good shots with that in the past, and I was happy with it. I also had the standard, I think that was the 02 lens. That's the standard zoom, 2.8 to f4, I think, something like that. So, generally very happy with that. But again, small sensors, I ultimately got out of the small sensor game. I had a lot of small sensor cameras from the XQ1 to the X30, G7X Mark II. All good cameras, all great cameras, but I'm also a semi-professional. So that's where the line got crossed. Like if I wanted to use any of those photos that I took for professional work, quote unquote, that's where the limitations come into play in terms of the file size to submit to stock photography to, for other reasons. If I'm using it for complete personal purposes, I probably would never go APS-C or Micro Four Thirds. Maybe I may be wrong about that because image quality is great, yet the size is still small. So, but I don't think you have to have it. If you're used to your phone and you like your phone and you're just a straight up amateur, you're doing it for family, you don't need bigger sensors. You can use smaller sensors and just get good lenses or have good lenses built into the camera. Like the LX7, I had the Panasonic LX7. That was great. That's a great camera. Small sensor, but it had a great lens, 1.4, at the wide end. So you can get some good shots, good, family shots that's going to last a long time in your photo books. But I said the smallest I'll go is Micro Four Thirds, and I got into it for particular lenses. And I said it before, it was a 35 to 100, so that's this lens. So I'm going to go in the order of, the length, focal length. So I'll start at the telephoto because that's the reason why I got into it. So the 35 to 100, look how compact that is. I mean, it fits in the palm of my hand, yet I get a 70 to 200. It's an f4 to 5.6, so this is a daylight lens, and that's exactly how I used it. I use it in daylight. I use it outdoors and travel as on my, Micro Four Thirds body at the time, the GX1, when I had, a wider angle on my APS-C Fuji cameras. And it was a great pairing, and I love the concept of it because I can carry telephoto in a small package, literally that small. And going back to the Pentax Q, the '06 lens literally was the same size. It was the same size as this lens, but it was a constant f2. So that's the difference, but on a much smaller sensor. So once you equate all that, it probably works out to get the similar image quality when you consider the depth of field and the sensor size and the light level and the sensitivity of the sensor. When you balance that all out, it probably comes out to the same image quality considering all those factors. So I think ultimately it makes more sense to have the bigger sensor because on that camera is interchangeable. I can change it to have other lenses that would give me better light. So that brings me to my next lens, the Olympus 45mm 1.8. So this can act as my indoor telephoto lens. So in the event that I'm indoors, but I want to shoot far, like I'm at an event and the lights get low, there's a little bit of light on the stage, but I'm sitting far away, I could slap on the 45 to give me that telephoto, a little bit more reach. Obviously not 7200, but 90mm equivalent on Micro Four Thirds at 1.8 gives you some good, light levels and some telephoto. So this is going to be great for portraits, for those events in low light. Blow out the background for some portraits. This is great. Got this as a good pickup. I haven't actually used this yet. So I plan to do it soon. I'm going to do a photo shoot with someone and I'm going to test this out and I'm going to have a lot of fun with that. So that's that. And then the next up, I got the Nifty 50, the Panasonic 25mm 1.7. Nifty 50 can't go wrong. I've kind of found a love for doing portraits. Most of my portraits, not all of it, but most of my portraits with 50mm because I can get the group shot outside, like outside with room. I can get the group shot. And then I can also get a little tighter and get that portrait, waist up shot, maybe even a headshot with this, depending on how close I want to get. So I think the 25-1.7 Panasonic and the Olympus 45 are going to be like my portrait pair whenever I decide to use Micro Four Thirds for that reason. And I think it's going to be great. It's lightweight, but yet fast. It's a little plasticky, but, nothing that any other Nifty 50 was. If I've had the Canon 1.8, from DSLR days, this is the same thing basically in Micro Four Thirds, Panasonic body. So that's that. My next lens, which I've been using a lot in the last week or so, is also, I love pancakes. Not with syrup though. The Panasonic 14mm 2.5. Very compact. Very small, very useful, makes the body of any camera small. That's what I love about pancakes. I have a pancake lens for Fuji. I have the 27mm 2.8. I've had both versions, the original and the Mark II with the weather sealing. I love pancake lenses. This is probably a crucial lens, I think, in any street photographer's, family photographer's kit because it makes your camera body small. It gives it a smaller footprint to just throw in the bag and be able to take it with you, take your camera with you and not have to worry about not using it. Just use it. 28mm equivalent, which is a focal length I've learned to really get into, going back to my Fuji X-F10 and the 18mm f2 that I used to have. 28 is a focal length I'm really starting to enjoy even more. And also, if you're new to photography, you know what? All phones start out at 28mm. So that's that. Now, The last lens is an ultra wide, the Olympus 9 to 18 lens. Haven't used this yet, but I do use ultra wides. I'm using the Fuji 10 to 24 now for this vlog. And so let's try this again. Like I said, Olympus 9 to 18 is my last lens on my pickup, and this is a lens I haven't used yet, but I'm looking forward to it. I do have experience with ultra wides. I do have the 10 to 24, which is what I'm using right now on Fuji. I also used to have a 7 Artisans 12 millimeter 2.8 for Fuji and Canon M series. So I do have experience using it, you know, from real estate photography, for just my own personal, you know, portfolio that I wanted to create. And I'm looking forward to it. It's smaller and compact. Obviously, it's micro four thirds. It's a f4 to 5.6, so you know, has variable aperture. It's a collapsible lens, so you could extend it from here, and this is 9 millimeters. So, and then you can collapse it when you're done to just close down pretty small. So this makes a really, really small kit. So let me show you. So really makes a small kit. You know, all these lenses are really compact. I don't know if you can even hear me that well right now, but makes it really small and compact. You know, fitting all of this in a bag. You got a whole kit from, you know, the equivalent of 18 all the way to 200. And you got fast primes, you got zooms, you got portrait, you got street. Everything is covered. So I'm very happy with that, and I look forward to, you know, showing you guys some of the things I can do. I am going to go out today actually, and I'm going to bring the two extremes, the ultra wide 18, the 9 to 18, and the 35 to 100, to see what shots I can get in the park nearby, and just let you know what it looks like. So peace.